We have a question from Kaylee and Matt Lovelady. They're the owners of I Love It CrossFit in Linden, Washington.
Love the name.
Yep.
I love it.
They want to know, when will the CrossFit Open be, assuming COVID restrictions even let us run it this year? And that they would love to see the Open return and stay in February and March.
Okay. Well, I'll start with the ending question. Overwhelmingly, people want to see the Open to go back to where it's always been prior to 2019 in February. So I'm happy to tell you that the Open's going to be in February and March. And that will lead to what I can tell you for sure, which is hard to say anything for sure in this world right now with COVID and so on. I can tell you for sure we're going to be running the Open in February, March, and that is going to lead cohesively to a CrossFit Games, which I think will end up being, we don't have dates for the Games, but if I had to guess, it will be later in the year versus where it's traditionally been, for the sole important reason that we want to maximize the chances that we can have as big a field as possible of participants, and that we could, God forbid, have a live audience one of these days, right?
Yeah.
And all the infectious disease experts that we're talking to and everything that I've read and others have read are saying, like, we've got to count on a pretty high probability of COVID impacts on live events for more than a year, for another year or so. And we're seeing that with the biggest concert promoters are pushing back their biggest concerts to the summer and beyond. And so we have to say, like, as a planning assumption, it's highly likely that kind of the later the Games goes, the more likely we can have a bigger field and again, ideally, a live audience of some kind as well. Mm-hmm. Now, this is going to vary by part of the world and all that. The other things I will say, so we're making a COVID-proof game season for sure. That's number one. Number two is we've been asked about regionals and stuff like that. And are we going back to regionals? And I would say everybody seems to want the Open in February that I've talked to. It doesn't fit with all the event schedules of some of our event partners, and I'm sympathetic to that, but there's kind of an overwhelming demand. On the regionals versus kind of sanctioned events side, I think the field's pretty split. Do people want formal regionals, or do they want kind of a more of a grab bag of crazy events? We like the grab bag of crazy events operated by partners. It really is in the spirit of CrossFit. It's very much like affiliates themselves. Mm-hmm. We like that these events have unique personalities, and so we're very much going to lean towards that model versus the traditional regional model, but we are going to create much more integration and partnership with on both the athlete front and the event partner front. But and there's a lot of other cool stuff we have in mind with the future of the sport. But I already went beyond the question.
Yeah, but that's exciting too. And so we are looking at February and March then.
We are 100% February and March.
And Matt
and let me say one more thing. I'm calling on everybody, like, we want to make this, the CrossFit Open's already the biggest participatory sport in the world, in the history of the world. I want to set a new record in 2021, so you guys all got to help me here. We want to hit 500,000 people around the world for the first time. We've been at about 400,000-ish for the last few years. This year we're going to hit over 500,000. And I know Dave Castro has some great stuff on tap to make the Open not only very challenging, we can count on that with Dave, but even more accessible to people who are earlier into their CrossFit journey, and again, being thoughtful about what's going on with COVID and so on, and the fact that we won't necessarily be able to have 20 people in a gym at the same time doing WODs and things like that in parts of the world.
Yeah, we're going to figure
it out. So 500,000.
Make it happen, yeah.